that lately, some of you have been a little out of sorts. Erratic, unreliable, downright sloppy. Not you,
Age of Apocalypse Wave 2.
You've been great.
There's a new street fighter on your windowsill. The weapon is peace, the word is chill.
Hello there, gang, and welcome to another episode of Displaying Model Behaviour, the Earth's mightiest action figure video podcast. So take off your pants, crack a beer, and let's talk toys. Let's talk Age of Apocalypse Wave 2. Oh my goodness, finally! You remember that wave? AOA Wave 2? The one that came out, what seems like months and months ago? Yeah, vaguely. Well, guess what? I finally have it in my hands. And quite frankly, this might be the big mama jammer of the year. So dang it, late or not, we gotta talk about it. So I'm going to review each figure, but also I'm going to just add some of the story as well. So if you haven't read Age of Apocalypse and you're worried about spoilers for a 25-year-old story, then maybe stop here. But do come back, read the story, and then come back, because there's good stuff here. Probably. We'll see. It's always a bit of a crapshoot when you watch these videos. I hope my hit ratio is, at least above 50%. So the first figure we're going to cover is Legion. David Halloran? Let's call him Legion, shall we? He's the son of Professor Charles Xavier and a lady. And his deal was that he has all these different personalities inside him, and each one of them has a different mutant ability. So that's kind of cool. And he's, understandably, because of that, a few sandwiches short of a picnic. He's not wrapped too tight. And someone pitches to him the idea, wouldn't it have been great if Charles Xavier had actually been able to pursue his dream properly without Magneto screwing it up? And Legion was like, yeah, if only someone could go back in time and kill Magneto. Ding! So Legion goes back in time, tries to kill Magneto, the X-Men follow suit, it's a whole thing, it's called Legion Quest, and what happens, you know what's gonna happen. He only bloody accidentally kills Charles Xavier, and thus we have the Age of Apocalypse, where Xavier never formed the X-Men, Apocalypse rises to power, wipes out a whole bunch of people, Magneto forms the X-Men in opposition to him, and a good time is had by all. I think it finishes with a big dance number. So Legion's not that integral to the actual story of the Age of Apocalypse as it's happening, but he certainly gets it kicked off, and the figure I like a lot more than I was expecting to, because I totally thought this was just going to be surplus to requirements. I wasn't interested in the character, and I thought he's just a guy wearing blue pajamas, but they have done a very nice job on these blue pajamas. If we take a closer look here, you see they've actually added a really nice dark blue wash to this getup. So rather than just being a splat of sky blue paint, they've actually given it some more depth and some shadow, and it looks like they just poured more effort into it. And that's all I want, just a little bit of effort. And this is exactly that. And what's kind of fun is, if you want to, you could pop his head off and maybe put a Cletus Cassidy head on there, or anything really, to recreate like a Ravencroft prison jumpsuit inmate type look. I'm gonna just randomly off the top of my head, I don't have a Cletus Cassidy head here, but I've got Arcade. So, yeah, look at that. There you go. You've now got... does that work? I want to blur out my stupid face. But you have a neatly groomed Cletus Cassidy look there. So that's kind of cool. You could do a lot with this body. And that's what's a lot of fun, when you have characters and figures that are a bit more versatile. You can do more with... There we go. But this one, I don't think he's essential to me, but I kind of like the fact that I've seen a lot of people posing him in his cross-legged kind of position, which is, I suppose, kind of a famous pose of his. I think he's sat like that in on the cover of Legion Quest. And the fact that his legs will actually bend and flex and get into that position very nicely, it works really well. So he's sort of there with his hands together, mulling over what he's going to do in an effort to save his father's dream. Didn't work out quite how he wanted. But also the facial features as well. I'd say they've done a pretty good job of giving him a bit of a quirky kind of expression. He's got a bit of a cocked eyebrow and a bit of a smirk on his face, like he's going to get up to some mischief. And that's exactly what he does, you know, plunging the world into an apocalyptic darkness and wiping out half of humanity. This little scamp. Also, a really lovely little touch is just the little thwip of hair. I don't know what you call it, the little cowlick or something. But it's a teeny tiny little detail. But it adds so much kind of character to this figure. And it's not something that you would necessarily expect, but they did it. And it's like just going the extra mile. And sometimes going the extra mile makes all the difference. And then just his spiky Brillo pad type hair at the top here. There's so much more to this character than I was initially thinking. So what was going to be a throwaway little figure actually works really well as like the centerpiece kind of hood ornament of the Age of Apocalypse display. And for that, I really like him. Well, hi there, sugar. Now we got ourselves Rogue. And again, I like Rogue as well. We're going 2 for 2 here. Rogue doesn't offer that much kind of unusual or different about her. She's a basic Marvel legend. You know what I mean? Like sometimes you'll get a figure and you'll think, ooh, they've done something a bit out of the box here. No, this is very sort of standard, but it's a good standard. Also, people tend to love her big old Ugg boots going on here, and so do I. Most of the artwork that I saw of Age of Apocalypse Rogue was done by Joe Madureira, and he has those kind of big manga kind of boots sort of look. This looks just like he has penciled her, which is a really nice touch. I love it when Hasbro can sort of take elements of some artists and incorporate them into a character while still maintaining their overall Marvel Legends aesthetic. And I feel they've done that here. One thing that people have a bit of a gripe with is folks say that she doesn't have a green cape. And in defense of Marvel Legends, see, I will defend Marvel Legends sometimes, she doesn't always have a cape. In a lot of the, is it Astonishing X-Men, I think, that Joe Madureira pencils? She doesn't have a cape on her. A cape would have been nice. I'll always take something extra, especially if it was some lovely soft goods. Ooh, suit you, sir. But as it is, it's not inaccurate. So I'm fine with that. Would I like more? Yes, but I'm happy with what we've got. Also, the face sculpt, I think, really pretty. It's a great sort of expression that's kind of soulful. I mean, stop me if I'm wrong, but she looks kind of wistful, but determined, like she's looking out to the horizon, like, we're gonna do this. We got a big old battle ahead of us, but dang it, sugar, we gonna do it. And she does, for the large part. Rogue is kind of kick-ass in the Age of Apocalypse. I really dig her. And if you haven't read the stories, she's like married to Magneto. They have a kid together. It's never openly, obviously revealed how he like dampens her powers, but he has a way of doing it. So they have a child together called Charles, of course. And very often she's, working to protect and defend her baby. So she's got that mama bear type energy. And she leads her team of X-Men. And yeah, she's super badass. Now the colors here are so bright. As you can see, they are like, wow. They're really, really bright, which is great. It pops off the shelf. Because for a dim, dark, dingy timeline, the colors are so vibrant. That's another thing that I love about the Age of Apocalypse, is because it's in the 90s, it's future apocalyptic Armageddon awfulness, but it's bright and technicolor as well. So that's really cool. And then, she's just got the normal hands. There's not too many things to change around with her. I think she has the hands you can swap out, but that's about it. It would have been quite nice if she came with the Rogue hand where she's holding the glove and then she can have the bare hand as well, but that's fine. I don't mind that. Really, the head sculpt with the hair, that's another really Joe Madureira-ish type thing, is the tuft, the big single tuft of white hair coming off the front. That works really well. That's really effective. So to pair her up with the rest of the characters on her team, which I think we have her full team now, that's really great. So we've completed that side of the Age of Apocalypse X-Men. Now we've got to get the other side with Storm, Nightcrawler, who else was on there? I'm trying to think. The mind's gone blank. Either way, there's like two teams, kind of like the gold and blue team of the 90s. And Rogue, she leads her team, and this figure has her leading it, looking pretty cool. Next up, we've got Iceman, and oh my giddy lord. This guy, I was looking forward to getting the figure. There was never any doubt about that. I knew, I was like, oh, translucent Iceman. Oh, Suit you, sir. I was just watching the Fast Show, so I've got that expression on the brain. But I got him out of the packet, and I was like, oh, he looks phenomenal. I love this material, because one thing I had a bit of a worry about was that he would be like the Juggernaut Wave Iceman, who looks really cool, is all translucent, but the plastic is really gummy. It's really gummy, bendy, wobbly plastic that doesn't really support him. Whereas this guy is solid, hard plastic. He's not going to have that gummy problem, yet he still gets this incredible translucency with the sun coming through. It looks amazing. I love this guy. This is what people are calling the Jack Frost Iceman, because he's got all these points, these frosted... It's the 90s. He has frosted tips. Makes sense. But yeah, his hair, the way his hair comes off the back of his head like that, and all the frost and icicles on his back, absolute, I'll say it, chef's kiss. Mwah! Love this figure so much. This is like a highlight. It really is. And also, what's great about Iceman in the Age of Apocalypse is he's a badass. Like, he's a full-on badass. The first time that we see him is when this big Terminator robot cyborg guy has got a gun to Magneto's head, and suddenly he just freezes and then shatters T-1000 style. And Iceman's like, no biggie. So this dude is not afraid to bust some heads and freeze and shatter them, Mortal Kombat style. Gotta love that. Also, in the Age of Apocalypse, he has like full control of his ice abilities. He can morph and change his body. There are some cool scenes where you just see him like as a puddle and then rising up out of it. Eventually, it's unclear if he actually gets killed at the end, because the Colossus, who we'll get to later, actually charges through him, because I'll get to that, but Iceman's blocking his path. He's like, nah, you can't come this way, and Colossus just smashes him. So I don't know if he actually survived, but then again, doesn't matter, because even if he died, he looked really cool doing it. The biggest difference between this and the regular 616, I think, is that he doesn't have a mouth or any of the more prominent facial features, and that just looks really cool as well. He's just got these eyes, and then the shape of like the nose kind of coming down over that flat mouth. It makes him look kind of inhuman and just scary, and I dig that so much. Now also, they're giving a bit of extra effort. We've got this lovely brush, like airbrush looking sort of white paint on the chest and on his shoulders and some of his more prominent areas that really make it look like frozen ice. It's not just blue plastic, but it looks like frosty tips and frozen ice. Ah, so good. And then finally, actually not even finally, I've got more points. Screw it, I'll keep going. There doesn't seem to be a smooth curve on him anywhere. Everything is angled and ridged. Look even at his lower legs there. He's got bits of ice and frost coming off there. Even his heels are pointed at angles. It looks like he has been chiseled, funnily enough, out of ice. Absolutely adore this. Then we've got the Carnage. I think they're reused Carnage spike hands, which work really well because, again, he has those terrifying looking spiky ice hands in the comics. This guy, so great, so awesome. Absolutely love Iceman. Now let's take things down. Way down with Cyclops. This guy. It's such a disappointment. I really wanted a good Cyclops figure. I love Cyclops' character arc in the story. He was sort of brought up by Apocalypse. He's like Apocalypse's main henchman, but he's not evil. He just has that classic Cyclops sense of duty. He still thinks that he's lawful good. You know, it's Apocalypse's law, and he's just acting it out. So he's like a loyal soldier. And why is he missing an eye? Because Wolverine gouged it out. That's really cool. Because Jean Grey was captured by Apocalypse's forces. She was being held captive. Wolverine came to rescue her. Cyclops and he got in a fight. Cyclops blasted Wolverine's arm off, hence the stump. And in the meantime, Wolverine slashed his eye out. So that's a couple of great war wounds they both share. So what's cool about the figure is he has a great backstory. That's where the coolness ends. This is so phoned in. It's such a shame. It's like they used their whole budget up and then were like, oh no, we've still got to make Cyclops. Don't! Are there any more? Are there any more sculptors here? Oh no, they've all gone home. Oh, they're gone for the weekend. We got this guy. Well, let's get him to do the head. Oh, did you run out? Did you run out of plastic to do his hair? His hairline's higher than mine. There's a reason I wear a bandana, so you don't get glare coming off the top of my forehead. When did Cyclops have this receding hairline? It looks awful. In the Age of Apocalypse, he has long, thick, luscious hair. Here, it just looks bad. It looks real bad. I hate that for a start, but don't worry. There's a lot more things that I hate. So the hair is one, and that's a big one. And because of that, it kind of throws you a little bit. Now, the next thing is kind of a design flaw, which you can sort of forgive. But I'm still going to mention it. But the thing is, because he's got these big, thick wrist gauntlets, and also the big bicep gauntlet armor as well, you have very limited movement in his elbow, because they just hit. And it's not so bad on the right arm, where he has the bare bicep, but on the left arm, that's all you're getting out of his arm. So it's a real shame that they couldn't engineer a way around that, because he has a double jointed elbow for all the good it does, because you still can't really bend his arm very much. That's a real big shame. Then, of course, the most egregious thing, the legs. Like, did you just forget? Again, that's when I'm like, did you run out of time? Because you've done nothing. You've literally done nothing. You just cast these in blue plastic, and that's it. And guess what? It's not good enough. I'm calling you out. You've literally done nothing. It's just the basic of most basic legs, and like the worst versions with the teeny tiny feet. The little feet. To think he could do such spectacular stunts with such little feet. It's awful. I went to check, because I was like, well, let's see if I'm being unfair or not. No, I went back and I looked at Factor X and some of the other Age of Apocalypse comics where he appears in. He has boots. He has boots, people. All right? It's not a case where he was just penciled as having just like spandex looking legs and feet. Nuh-uh. This dude wears boots. Sometimes he even wears gold boots. But Hasbro were like, nah, we're good. Nah, we can get away with it. Nah, it'll be fine. It's not fine. He looks just naked and bare from the waist down. Even if you could have reused, there are so many characters. I'm looking at characters in front of me who have boots that you could have just stuck the lower leg on, and voila, you got a booted foot. Sometimes they're gold, sometimes they're the same color as his leggings. You didn't have to add extra paint, but the fact it just looks like he's wearing spandex. It's really cheap. It's really bad. I'm not impressed. Also, while I'm here, while I'm on a roll, the torso armor, this strap, the strap's not long enough. So his belt rides super high, like he's wearing pants like a 65-year-old at a breakfast Denny's buffet. Like, that's really not good. You can pull it down, but they do tend to just ride up. So like his belt should be further down here, but the strap's just not long enough. It keeps yanking it up, so that looks really silly. And I'm done. That's enough negativity for me. I don't like that. I'm going to have to start praising something to feel better. Here we go. There's some nice weathering. There's actually some nice weathering detail on his armor, on the gold stuff. At least that's not plain. They actually put some scratches and nicks and dings and dents, so that really helps the overall look of it. That's something. That's something I can cling on to. I can hang on to that. But honestly, I'm really disappointed. The face looks... the face is okay. I mean, he's a very stoic officer type character, so that kind of works. But then we don't have any other hands either. I mean, what? You couldn't give us the classic Cyclops 2 fingers or something? It's just these fists. So, no, this feels like the most bare bones figure. Not happy with this one. Alright, you know me. You know I don't like being negative. So let's bring things back up again. I've got a perfect figure to do it with. Magneto. Oh, Age of Apocalypse Magneto. Yes! Guys, you did it. You used your whole ass with this. You didn't half-ass it at all. You went all in on this guy, and the results speak for themselves. This guy is great. I really, really like Magneto. The fact, first of all, he has 2 heads. That's just terrific. In fact, I think I might actually go with the unmasked head for my normal display, because it's a good looking face. It looks cool. It's got character to it. But then the helmet just looks really cool. And the thing is, my other Magneto, I display... Where is he? I can't see him. Oh, he's right on the end there. I display him without his helmet because I don't like the look of that one. So I want to at least have one Magneto helmet in the display. But still, with the pigtails, I mean that's what they are, aren't they? They are pigtails. The pigtails coming down the side, it just makes him look more interesting. Now, of course, there is the caveat that, of course, you don't have a huge amount of head articulation because of the hair at the back, which is not a fault. It's the way that these are. You know, you can't magic that better, and Lord knows I don't want them to just not give him hair, so that's fine. It's more of just a point that you're a little bit limited there. But what I really love is the fact that he's got the purple shoulder pads that then get broken up by the red of the cape and then the purple of his, I don't know, whatever you call this, collar, I suppose. That it just looks really nice. It adds different layers and makes his costume more interesting overall. And then because of that, because he's got the purple belt and all of this going on up here, you don't really feel like he's missing the purple pants. It just looks like the costume itself is complete. And then, look at this. Curious. He's wearing boots. How about that? It's almost like you could have put these lower legs on Cyclops. That would have worked. That would have been so easy. It would have actually, that would have solved your Cyclops problem right there. They're not amazing boots, but they're something. And he also has the bigger feet as well. They're not Cyclops' teeny tiny little dainty ballerina feet. These are more of the flipper type feet, which honestly, I actually kind of like. Makes the figures easier to stand. That's fine by me. Then he's got different hands as well. He's got the fists, and he's got the open hand, and they even gave us little swirly-whirly magnetic power effects. They're nothing to write home about. They're the same swirly-whirly effects they seem to dish out with every other figure, but it just adds a little something extra, and that's what I love to see. I love to see a little something extra. That's what this guy has. Magneto, he's excellent. This next figure I want to kind of show you a 2-in-1, but we'll do Colossus separately, but I want you to see the way I'm posing Shadowcat, because this works. This just works so well. Shadowcat was, besides, Legion was my least anticipated figure, then it was Shadowcat. But now that I've got her and I have her perched on Colossus's shoulders, this looks so cool. Really love it. Therefore, I really love her. So I'm going to pop her off of the shoulders there so we can take a proper look at her. And just what really helps with this is the fact that she's really well put together. And the face, I mean, it's always the face. The face, the eyes have it. This is a really good looking face sculpt. She's got her cool apocalypse hairstyle, but her face again, similar to Rogue. It's that determined going into battle, and she's got a slight sneer on her face as well, and I really dig that. There are so many blank expressions in action figures, and to have one that's actually really got nuance. It's not like rah, but it's just like she's just sizing up the opposition, and she's about to leap forward and just mess some dudes up. So that's wicked. So of course she has her retractable and extendable claws here. The reason she has these is because in the AOA, she was trained by Wolverine, or Weapon X. He was never called Wolverine because Department H never happened. Or did it? Because he was called Weapon X. Well, he never got turned into Wolverine. Obviously, he was turned into Weapon X because he got the adamantium. I'm making myself look silly. Let's move on. Still, she was trained by Logan, alright? So she got the claws to mimic his fighting style. And it's great that they give us 2 different types of wrist gauntlets. So we can have the wrist gauntlets with the claws retracted? Not retracted. What's the opposite? Tracted? Tracted isn't a word. Out. Alright, so she can have both sets of claws out or both sets of claws in, or as I've done, a mixture of the two. And that works really great. Her lower legs, I think, are the same as Lady Deathstrike, and they're perfectly functionable. They're serviceable. You know, they do the job. That's all I can say about those. But really, I love the silver on the belt with the little pouches, the X symbol there, her little kitty collar as well is a great touch, and just the details even on the wrist gauntlets. You've got the ports where the claws extend from. Those look great, but really, yeah, the head, the hair, the look in the eyes. This is the biggest surprise. This figure, I went from being not the least bit interested in to really being impressed with. Plus, it's the newer female buck. We got the double jointed elbows. You can get so much more dynamism in the poses. Yeah, this figure's really cool. Now, an absolute winner chicken dinner figure here is Victor Creed Sabretooth. One of the biggest character changes in the Age of Apocalypse is that Sabretooth is a cool dude. And that's so great because finally, it's like when a heel wrestler finally turns babyface and you're like, oh, I've been wanting to cheer for this guy for so long, and at last you can. And the reason, I think, is because Blink has the ability to like calm his animal rages? Because I know that in the 616 he had Birdie, and Birdie could kind of suppress his animal instincts, and I guess that maybe it was Blink. Either way, Blink is like his adopted daughter type ward, so maybe that kind of helps. Either way, Sabretooth is a good dude, and this is such a good figure. Hasbro, you killed it. This is wonderful. Well done, A+. Because the biggest thing with Sabretooth is that he is big, and this figure is big. You did it, and I love you for it. Sometimes you'll get a character and you're like, they did my man dirty. No, Sabretooth, he got his just desserts here. You can see he's got the chain around his hand. That's actually the chain that comes with Wildchild, as you know. So normally I will pose them with him holding Wildchild's chain. I just didn't want to take it off because it looks really cool. So he's got two heads again, and the biggest problem is just knowing which head you want to use because they both look really cool. So at the moment, I'm going for the more action kind of look, but his regular, relaxed Victor Creed, as opposed to Sabretooth type head, where he's got this cool little, like, too cool for school, super awesome looking dude kind of smirk on his face. I love that. So I might just swap them in and out every now and then because they just look the bomb. And then the fact this is on such a big buck, all I'm thinking is, I'm looking at this thinking, give us 90s Sabretooth, give us X-Men the Animated Series type Sabretooth on this buck. That will be incredible. We've got an X-Men wave coming up very soon. Sabretooth is listed as one of the characters. If they use this again, I'll be very, very happy. So yeah, this dude, absolutely fantastic. One of the highest, most impressive figures in this entire wave. And finally, of course, we have the Build-A-Figure, the Wascally Wushin Colossus. I was about to say Cyclops there. Clearly my brain can only store one C name. But there we go. Colossus, I got there. And this is terrific. Well done again. Again, Hasbro, you're on a hot streak of Build-A-Figures, at least as far as size and heft is concerned. We've had Mr. Hyde, Zemnu, Ursa Major, all big chunky Build-A-Figures. And this dude, this might be the best of the lot. I think the thing that's most striking about him is all the details in the sculpting of the metalwork. That's what's so cool, the metal muscles with all the ridges and the lines. They really went ham on this, and it works. It looks so good. Then it's got a nice dark wash on there to bring out all the dips and divots and rivets and all that kind of thing. He's just interesting to look at, and that's what I really want with an action figure, is a figure that looks interesting. So this is just wonderful. So let's go up like from top to bottom. Look at that face. That is an animated, expressive face. Like, that face tells a story. And in the Age of Apocalypse, the story is this guy is a dick. He's such an unpleasant dude. If you read Generation Next, like, he basically recruits this team of youngsters to rescue Illyana. Then as soon as they rescue her, he's like, all right, I'm going to leave you guys to die. Thanks, I've got what I need. And then in the end, like I said, he smashes through Iceman because he's trying to protect Illyana. So he potentially kills Iceman, and then Kitty Pryde is like, whoa, slow down there, big boy. You can't go messing up the smash. and he murders Kitty Pryde, because you would say, like, well, why doesn't she just phase? And it's really kind of tragic because the narrator the text box, it says like, she doesn't phase because she doesn't imagine for a second that he would kill her. And it's like, oh, well, there you go. And then ultimately, Gambit kills Colossus before he can mess up everyone's plans to save the future and go back in time and undo the Age of Apocalypse. Gambit's like, mon ami, not today. And he just blasts Apocalypse, what am I saying? Colossus. And that's the end of the Russian. But in the meantime, we get an incredible, badass Build-A-Figure. Absolutely love this, with the baggy suspenders. Some people like these, some people don't. I like them, it adds more color, it's more interesting. But you can see they actually do clip and unclip. So you can remove them if you want to. I wouldn't want to. I think it adds more color, it's more interesting. You can just snap the clip back in there, and there you go. But the fact that I can pose Kitty on his back as well, that's really awesome. But then with the big studded shoulder pad, so Mad Max, so over the top, and his huge, big, grasping hands, he's got the fists as well. This figure, just an absolute centerpiece for the collection. Love this guy. I love this wave. This is phenomenal. So let's rank them. Alright, so no surprises. Coming in dead last, we have Cyclops, of such a disappointing figure, a character I was really looking forward to, and I'll say, they done him dirty. It's a real shame. They cheaped out on this, but I guess because the rest of the wave is so good, they had to cut corners somewhere, and boy did they. Next up, we've got Legion. I think this shouldn't be a huge surprise to anyone, the order that I'm putting these in. Legion is a fine figure, but that's about it really. He doesn't have a huge amount going for him. Not a bunch of crazy extras or anything. He's got the one head and no power effects or anything like that. But what he does do, he does well. The sculpting on the body, on the inmate outfit, that looks really good. They've actually put some good expression into his face. So even though there's not much to him, they've done a good job with what they've got. So I don't love him. And if he wasn't in the collection, I probably wouldn't miss him, but I've got him, and I don't hate him. Alright, now already we are officially in the category of figures that I think are great. And the first one is Kitty Pryde, and that's it. Some of these could be interchangeable. I'm forcing myself to make a decision, but just so many of these are great. Mainly for Kitty, the face. I think the face and the ambiguous type look on her face, the determined sort of just badass kind of intensity in the eyes, that's what really does it. Cap that off with nice accessories, with the claws, the great female body sculpt. I think we're going to see a lot of this, and I'm not mad about it because I think it's terrific. With all the flexibility, the posability, the double jointed elbows, all that kind of thing, Kitty's excellent. After Kitty, we have Rogue, and what I love about Rogue is she's so vibrant. She's just, unlike some of the characters, she's turned up to 11 a little bit, a bit exaggerated. First of all, just the color. So bright, so vibrant. That's great. She's just like glowing on the shelf. Then we got the big, chunky Ugg boots. They look terrific. And the slightly extra stylized hair. I think that's great. And then you've got that wistful look, looking out onto the horizon. I think this figure's awesome. Really, really love Rogue. Now we got Rogue's husband, the master of magnetism, Magneto. And this is a figure that I feel every Marvel legend should have what this guy has as a basic. You got 2 heads, you got 2 pairs of hands, and you got power accessories. I think that's the perfect criteria for an excellent standard Marvel legend. I know we very often don't get that, and it's all about splitting the cost between the wave. I get it. But this guy has also got it. Got the 2 heads, got the 2 hands, got the power effects. Love it. And then just the style and design of Magneto. He looks badass. This captures badass. Therefore, it captures a good place on the list. Now we've got the big 3, and this is so difficult to choose. And when I was doing the live stream unboxing, I actually had these in a different order. I think I might have had some of the other ones in a different order as well, because the more I play with them, the more I see different features and I appreciate more things. So in 3rd place, and geez, even this is tough, but I'm going to say in 3rd place we have Iceman. Now when I was doing the live stream, I had Iceman at number 1, and on any other day, maybe he would still get number 1. The only reason I'm taking him down a peg is that he's up against 2 really big figures, and I like getting my money's worth. So that's one thing. He doesn't have any other heads, so that's something. But I mean, what would you do? The whole point is his head looks like this. So already I'm convincing myself that he should go higher. But he could have come with some ice effects maybe. That would have been kind of fun. But he has a different hands as well. Either way, I'm discussing how much I love all these figures, so the order is almost arbitrary, but just for the sake of making a choice, I'm going to put him in third place, but my goodness, I love this guy. He could easily be first. In second place, we've got Victor Creed. Big, hefty, heavy, chunky. They can make so many figures on this buck. If they did Venom on this buck, oh my goodness, 616 Venom on this body. Oh, that would be perfect. Oh my, take my money. Not this silly Omega Red holes in the shoulders figure, but I mean, actually, having said that, is this the Omega Red buck? No, it's not. It's not, is it? How does it stack up size-wise? Let me have a look. Oh yeah, Sabretooth is bigger. Yeah. So he's bigger. I would take this. So this is a new buck, is it? Or am I going crazy? It's so hard to tell. No, I'm sure. No. This is bigger. This is bigger. Yeah, put Venom on this. That would be phenomenal. But they put Sabretooth on this, and he looks terrific. With the two heads as well. I love that. Such a great figure. And in first place, at least for today, we have Colossus. Love this dude. The more I've played around with him, the more appreciation I've got for him. So huge, so much detailing on the armor and the metal and the musculature. It's just wonderful. So bright and colorful as well, and the super expressive face too. That's what really sells it to me. With the headband blowing in the wind. So dynamic. I absolutely adore this guy. Easy first place. And guys, that does it for my Age of Apocalypse review, and what an incredible wave this was. Tip of the bandana to Hasbro. Guys, I rag on Hasbro all the time. You know, you watch me do it all the time, but I only do it because I call them like I see them, and when they do an amazing wave, I will be the first to say that this is why 90% of my collection is Marvel Legends, because I love Marvel Legends. When they get them right, oh boy, do they get them right. And these are done right, except Cyclops. But the rest of them are phenomenal. So guys, my hat's off to you. Thank you so much for giving us an amazing Age of Apocalypse Wave 2. Now please, for the love of criminy, give us a third wave. I hope... Gosh, that's a phrase I do not want to be using in this world right now. Give us a third wave. But you know what I mean. Give us a third Age of Apocalypse wave, please. With a Nemesis builder figure. Because we got the old Toy Biz one, but come on. Give us a new Nemesis builder figure. And there is a whole huge range of characters that we still need. You could have so much fun. You could do 3, 4, 5 Age of Apocalypse waves if you want to. I don't know how popular they are. People say that they see them warming pegs, but then again, we got a second wave. And from what I understand, a lot of folks at Hasbro are big AOA fans. So that does bode well for us. So guys, that does it for today. Thank you so much for watching. If you like what you see here and you want to see more, then join the 6-1 Clicks by clicking the like, share, and subscribe buttons. And also, if you want to sport a badass t-shirt like the one that I'm wearing, then you can do by going over to teespring.com/displaying model behavior. Pick up one of these bad boys to cover up your body. And finally, if you want to doubly support the channel, you can do by going over to patreon.com/displaying model behavior, where you can watch a whole bunch of exclusive videos. It really helps out the channel. By help out the channel, I mean, it gives me money to buy toys. So yeah, that helps out the channel. Guys, thank you so much for watching. It's a pleasure as always. And until next time, keep displaying model behavior.
Chill. Yeah.
Months and months ago, I think probably like back in 2018 or something. It feels like so long ago. So long. Well, it's finally in my hands. So let's talk about it. That was awful. I'm going to do another intro. I wasn't feeling it. Just wasn't feeling it. Hello there, gang, and welcome to It's going to become a thing now. But Legion, therefore, once he kills Xavier, he disappears from the story. He's gone. Huh. You know, I thought it was going to be Strong Guy who fell over first. it's not going to be a regular issue most of the time unless you stay the night at, Jason. I was going off on a tangent.